Alright, so we're back in the shop after cleaning up, and we're about to pull the motor. So as you can see, I just cleaned everything up and it's leaking a bunch already. I did let it warm up to operating temperature, and the reason for that is there is a crack up in there on my oil pump housing. So I got to pull the whole front of the motor out. I could do it without pulling the motor, but there's a couple other things I want to do with the motor out. So I figured might as well just pull it out, and that way it's easier to work on it all. The resonator took a pretty good hit when the drive shaft blew up last time, so gotta fix all that. Alright, we're almost ready to pull it. We have everything removed, disconnected, all the bell housing bolts out, starters out, wiring's out, off the alternator, and the radiator's out. We just have to pull the power steering pump real quick, and all the intake to get to all the wiring, pull the wiring, and it can come out. Well, the engine is out. A little bit more problematic than normal. I forgot a fuel line in the ground, so that was a little bit frustrating, but it's all out. Time to get this thing fixed. So, engine's out, got everything cleaned up on the chassis side. Let's get the motor torn down and see what everything looks like. I know that there's the crack obviously on the front, and then the motor mounts have been giving me some issues over time. I've had this same motor mounts for quite a few years, probably 9-10 years, but they've been cracking randomly. So I'm going to build new plates for the engine side, and then these are just 22 RE mounts. I'm going to, oh look at that one's loose, nice. I'm going to build just a full like DOM bushing sleeve style instead of this. And then the crossover pipe went right past this bolt, so I might redo that. Haven't decided yet. I'm going to just loop this since I deleted the heater. Just a few little things on the motor to clean up, and then the oil pan got smashed a few times, so going to pull the oil pan and straighten it a little bit, and then reseal it all up, and yeah, let's get to work. Interesting. So the crack actually comes up here and then comes all the way down across over top of that bolt and out. But the oil pump is right behind here and right on the edge of that, so that's why it's pouring out oil. Let's get that thing all torn down. Well, we're about to pull it, drain the oil, the thing happened. That was not planned, but it never is, right? So I got a mess to clean up. But either way, about to pull the front cover off. We got to pull the pan real quick, get the oil pickup, and then once the pickup's off, then we can pull the front cover. So, as I said before, this thing got pretty beat up. Looks like I used it as a skid plate, so let's get that fixed real quick before we put it back on. Well, it's not perfect, but shouldn't interfere with the oil pickup anymore. So, and then I grinded out the inside a little bit with a wire wheel to get rid of the powder coat that was flaking, so should be good to put on. Got to put this cover back on and it's all buttoned up. I am going to double check timing before I put the cover on, that way I can make sure that we're good. So let's get these swapped out real quick and figure out the inner mount. Just loop the coolant lines on the back since I'm not running the heater. That way it still flows through, and then pull the brackets off the block on both sides. So now we'll get to building some new ones. The whole transfer case all reassembled, ready to go back in the truck. So we'll get this one down underneath the truck first, and then we'll get the motor underneath the truck after we check timing and put the clutch back on. And then, yeah, hopefully make the new mounts and get ready to go. So we have one engine mount made. I'm going to design this side real quick with cardboard so we can get it cut out. This was the old mount. Kind of seen better days. I had to weld it back together a few times. So let's make a new plate, and I'm gonna start with some cardboard and figure it out as we go. So there's a cardboard mock-up. We'll probably clean it up in the computer, make it look a little nicer, but the 4 bolts, there's a stud here that I needed to miss, and then this jacket here. So everything fits good. Let's go make it on the computer and make it look good. Still looks pretty weird, but should fit, should clear the little nub here and should clear here. So let's cut it out and see if it works. Got the engine back in the truck. I had it back 5 inches, but I decided to move it back forward. There would have had to been a lot of cutting of everything, firewall, moving wiring, rewiring things. So this is going to be the easiest for the event coming up soon. Clearances are still super tight, but we got to build some new engine mounts. I did cut this one off. I got to cut the other one off still. Build some new engine mounts and get this thing mounted. Got the motor mount cut off. Now we just need to clean up the frame. Well, that kind of sucked, but should have done this before the engine went back in. But oh well. Got both sides grinded up, cleaned up, so now let's make the new mount. So for mounts this time, we're just going to use the DOM sleeve bushing. A little bit easier and simpler, and there's just a little bit more bushing there, but also way easier to make brackets for. So this is what we're going to be using. Let's get to work. Alright, so the goal is here to notch over the square tube like that, and then put the bushing as close as possible. So the way I'm going to do that is just with the cardboard, put the bushing on here, trace it around it, and then mock it up, see if it works. So that will end up looking like that. And then when we put it up in here, it'll be a little bit off the frame. Should work good. And then we'll just do a tube to the plate that we made. We got it made on the drawing, so let's transfer it to cut file, cut this out. So with these mounts made real quick, I'm gonna center them up on the frame, get this truck back to full bump, and measure where we want them, and then we'll make sure everything clears, and then we'll make the tube. Alright, we got everything set up. Let's mock these mounts up. It looks like we should have plenty of room. Both side motor mounts are tacked in on the frame side, so let's get to setting the two up to mount them. We got both the engine mounts in. Everything is loose still. We just gotta tighten it all up. But I'm going to get the whole top end of the engine put back together, rewired, put the intake back on so we don't have open holes. And then yeah, we can start moving on to getting it running again and finishing up all the plumbing and get this thing out on the trail.